big shout out to R&J's. Big special thanks from them, from the Aaron and Austin Show, for stepping up and being an official sponsor. We really love having them around.
Probably some of the best whiskey selection in town. Go check them out over there at Douglas and Hillside. Tell them Aaron and Austin sent you.
The Aaron and Austin Show is brought to you by Slow Coast Studios, Wichita's home for EPKs, live recording, podcasts, really any audio-visual stuff that you might need.
So we want to welcome a new sponsor to the Aaron and Austin Show, Mo Pigs.
Yeah. Great people that got all the cool vintage toys.
Like, they really have the coolest stuff, and he comes across a little bit of everything. He has, like, literally vintage video games all the way down to, like, loose action figures. I mean, you got to go check out their store. They're over at 833 Northwest Street. They're in the old game exchange there on West Street.
Killer selection. Great people. Go check out Mopeds for sure.
Get with PK Pest Management for all of your pest control needs. 316-305-7108. For any termite inspections or anything under the sun, we'll take care of any problem that you have.
Sacred Leaf is Wichita's favorite CBD store. They grow their own fields out in Colorado. They make a lot of their own products. Stop by, see Nikki. Tell them Aaron and Austin sent you. The Cowboy Inn is Wichita's favorite neighborhood bar. For a great patio, great service, great vibe, check out the Cowboy Inn just south of Central on St. Paul.
We'd like to welcome a new official sponsor, Whiskey Dicks. They just signed on. It's a great bar. Me and Aaron love it. We love to get our old fashions there. They got happy hour from 3 to 6 every day. So make sure you get out and support Whiskey Dicks, a new official sponsor of the Aaron and Austin Show.
The Aaron and Austin Show wants to give a huge shout out to Eddie at Wichita by EB. Go check out his podcast, The Editorial. Check out all the stuff he's doing for food trucks. He releases a list of where the food trucks are going to be. He releases a list of where the bands are going to be playing. Just an amazing dude. Go support him. Find Wichita by EB. Support him however you can. Out Detox has been helping Wichita detox for 15 years. They have a great selection of CBD products, mushroom gummies, kratom, kava, and even legal THC. Hit them up, www.alloutdetox.com, or give them a call, 316-554-7459. Be all in with All Out Detox.
Check out the Rusty Nail for everyday food and drink specials, especially Hammer Time. Every day from 4 to 7, half-price drinks. And on Saturdays, we have some of the best live music in town.
Jam Jam 2024. We have Brantley Gilbert, Stone Temple Pilots, Demon Jones, Wheeler Walker Jr., Upchurch, and Joe D. Messina. So it's going to be a killer lineup. More to come. A bunch of locals popping up on that. There's a whole beach party stage. We haven't announced an act on.
Yeah, and then we've got just so much going on at that show. Make sure that you're going to be out there. It's July 19th and 20th this year. The Aaron and Austin Show is going to be in the VIP section, podcasting live at the lodge all weekend long. It's going to be a blast. There's going to be camping. There's going to be dad bod contests. There is going to be a car show.
Shenanigans.
Shenanigans.
Awesome. It's fucking awesome. If you like fun, then you know where to go. The Aaron and Austin Show.
Episode 108. It's just every Tuesday, it feels like.
Actually, that's exactly what
I've been waiting to hold this in the pocket just a little bit. We've been talking about maybe doing these episodes live. I don't care. I want to know what the people think. Well, we're talking
to the people.
Yeah, so so we still do them on Tuesday nights and just have them Tuesday nights live. They just broadcast Tuesday nights live at the
and then just release that
Tuesday, and then we'll put them out Wednesday morning on the other couple platforms that we don't go live on. What do you think?
Man, live, always live, always live.
Well, the only thing that is a little bit of trepidation about going live is one, I'm worried that someone could get dicked out of a good episode because like tonight the internet's being an ass.
But it stays up there, right? Like,
yeah, but if the internet's being an ass tonight and now half his episode's glitchy.
Oh yeah,
because we went live.
That's true.
Nobody fucking watches it.
Okay, I got you there. I got you.
That's where I stop. That's where I go. Oh fuck.
Can you separate the stream from the recording?
Well, we could do both.
Yeah,
I think we could do both, where we like stream and record at the same time, and then so then you could do Spotify and Apple and everything. We put it on the next day would be clean,
right?
And if it's crappy week, I guess we could replace that footage also on YouTube.
So what we used to do was we would have SD cards in both the cameras, and then we would download the audio separately, and like sync all those up in DaVinci Resolve editing software, piece together our show.
Yeah, a little more time consuming, but
yeah. So now we've got it down to basically a live
Quality-wise,
switcher just
no,
right into the computer to
so
save
for the
it,
most part, you got to add a couple graphics. You make sure the post is right. Make sure speed through the episode. Make sure the fucking audio and everything syncs up like it's supposed to, and post it. I mean, that's what we're trying to do. But live even takes more of that away. So if you got a clean live and it goes well, and it's a little easier for someone coming in. Like if you got a show to promote, or if you got a band you coming out with something like,
we don't have to do it 2 weeks ahead of time.
Well, we don't have to account for the 9-day.
Right. Turnaround.
Yeah, exactly.
For the most part, I will say thank you all the artists and all the people that make the show possible, the people that listen and all that. I appreciate most of the artists have really understood that we do have a 9-day turnaround and have been great about that. So,
and we're having these discussions because AM runs Zeptepland Studios, a great studio here,
and
in
town. His input on these things,
it
means a ton. It really does.
While he's here,
there's a reason I don't do podcasts though.
How many podcasts have you done? You done any?
I've done maybe 3 or 4, and none of them were ever fully released. I don't think.
Yeah. Which side of the camera were you? Were you back of the house? Or you in front?
No, I was back.
Yeah.
So, are you guys trying to produce podcasts at your studio if you get a chance?
Not necessarily. I'm
just send them our way, buddy.
Man.
Just send them our way.
Yeah, exactly. We'll There's room for all of us, right?
Yeah, we'll produce those.
It's such a different,
we will.
Different beast.
It is a little different. It is a little different for sure. And we'll let him get into everything that he does real quick. Let's go. We got to make sure we get pay our bills real quick. Whiskey Dicks 42 Below.
Sacred Leaf.
Hit me with one more. Mopigs. All the people that pay us a little extra get the extra the Rusty Nail. We love you,
of course.
All of those. So get with us if you want to do.
They're doing their Topless Tuesday. I ran by there.
Yeah, I heard.
Earlier today. Looked packed out.
Looked packed, and we were at Whiskey Dicks today, and they have their tequila dinner going on tonight. So both of our 2 favorite bars in town are always the best to go to.
Stuff going on.
And if you want to, those are two of the best like dive bars for food and stuff. And if you want to get to the real dive bar and have a lot of fun with an acoustic night and an open mic tonight, you can always get out to the Cowboy Inn. On Tuesdays, Giuseppe. Giuseppe's got it going on.
Oh, yeah. This will come out on Thursday, in which you can come out to the Shamrock, and I host the full backline Sham Jam.
Yeah.
Jam for the whole damn fam.
Yeah, and he got that, and he also got the open mic on Wednesday still that's going hard at Barleycorns.
Well. With David Massey.
Shout out to David Massey hosting that, so we appreciate him and Sunset Motel and everything that they do. So here we are with episode 108. We kind of limped into this one today. It's been a good day, a little rainy day. Well, thanks AM for checking in with us. So go ahead and introduce yourself to our fan base a little bit. Tell us who you are, what you got going on, and all that stuff.
Yeah, thanks for having me, guys. I really appreciate it. My name is AM. I own a recording studio in town called Zeptepland. I've been there for about, I think it's our 6th year. But it is
badass.
Yeah, it's a space that I dreamed up, wanted for a long time. It's the biggest live room in the city, professionally designed by one of the great acousticians, George Augspurger. Just a master acoustician, did some of the biggest rooms in LA.
So was this room previously like this, or did you have him come in and help you make this room like this? Or?
No, it was just like I bought this acre property, and it was a pool house on the property.
It's really cool. Yeah.
And
I got to see this sometime.
I had him. We tore everything out, just tore it down to the studs and the rafters, and he did a design, soundproofed it, built it the right way. So it's completely
and the room
different.
Sounds killer.
The bones were there, but that's it.
But you got to build it in your vision, it sounds like.
I did. I mean, for what we could do in the budget, obviously, and it's totally self-funded operation, totally independently owned and operated by me. So try to do it right, man. It's a space that I'm really proud of.
There's a lot of wood.
It's very woody.
And
big
I
windows.
love that.
Big windows out to a pool. There's like a whole lounge out there. We got a tiki
So
bar.
the pool was already there.
Pool was there. Pool's been there since 1970. The place was owned by Mel Hamilton from Mel Hamilton Ford. He built the property. So every time I have like workers come by or something, they're like, "Oh, I've been to parties here. Like this is really familiar."
Right. So when you got the property, we're sitting on just a guts concrete slab style building. Is a slab even there?
Yeah, the slab was there.
So and then you just have a pool.
Yeah, there's a pool behind it. There's some studs, there's some rafters, and a couple trusses.
So where did your vision come from? What got you into the music industry to start this? Where did all this vision come from?
I've been recording music since I was 12. I'm 34 now, so
nice.
It's been a while. It's been 22 years. And when I was recording all through like high school, middle school, like I was teaching myself on 8 tracks and those cassette Tascam.
Well, 12 years ago, was that like ADAT? Was ADAT around?
12 years ago? 22 years ago.
Oh,
It
yeah.
definitely was. Yeah.
We're 40. We'd lose track of 10 years.
Yeah, I go
Ah,
out.
like that.
I'm not far behind.
You'll be
you.
44 and I'm 10, and you'll be like, oh shit.
Exactly.
And you'll be like,
No,
wasn't that just 10? Oh, it was 30.
Yeah, no. I miscounted in my brain, I think. But,
No, it was cassette. I was doing on cassette, man. I was still those Tascam Porta Studios.
Oh, bet.
Yeah, I still got
on
it.
cassette.
I love it. I still got it.
Oh yeah.
But
So what were you recording at that time when you get into this as a young kid? Like, are you recording your own music or just did you have other people that were making music around you? Like, what gave you the opportunity to record this? And did you have like a family member that made this possible, or you were like, I can record this shit?
No, that was just all me. I had no family members that are like musically inclined, really, except for myself and my brother. And I started playing guitar when I was 10. Then I had, found music that just turned me on at that time. You find
what was your shit? What was your shit then?
When I was 10, Weezer, they had 2 albums out. I found those first 2 albums and I lost my mind, completely lost my mind. So that was like the biggest thing. And then when I was like 12-ish, it was right before Elliott Smith died. Found that guy. That blew my mind. So I was like, how can I make things sound like this? So just kind of started experimenting. My buddy at the time from middle school, my buddy Colin and I started playing music together. And he's a savant, but his dad was an engineer out in LA for a long time. And he was an assistant on a bunch of Guns N' Roses albums, Appetite for Destruction,
Oh,
and
nice, the good ones.
Megadeth, Rest in Peace, a couple
go.
Bob Dylan records.
That's some
And he worked out here at Air House for a while with David
yeah.
Lord. And so I came up like just staring at his gold records on the wall and
Yeah, for sure.
getting pointed. Like he would kind of teach us things.
So
here
there
and
was
there.
a seed right there.
Little bit. So that was kind of the genesis. That was the
Nice.
genesis.
Well, that's that's something to look forward to. I mean, this shit's possible.
Yeah. Oh, absolutely.
But it's not
will
like
it.
it's not like lightly undertaken. You know what I mean?
Oh,
Like there's a
fuck.
huge expense.
Yeah.
I mean, to have this guy come out and design your whole studio, build his vision,
Right.
then get the gear, pop that up in there. Now, I mean, microphones in this world, in the studio world, microphones can be insane.
You're telling
man.
me.
Insane.
I know, just the
No.
cheap ones I wanted. Goddamn.
Yeah,
I want 5 of the ones I want, and it's like $2,500 for them.
We're
They're not
looking
even-
at,
I
we're
mean,
looking
we-
at SM7Bs.
I just
like,
want SM7Bs. I mean, I'm sure you know what those
yeah,
are.
$400 a mic. You
Which
know, like,
I still use on every single session. They're
yeah,
incredible.
of course.
I
See,
love
they're so dynamic of a mic that I think that it's just we need to get there as the standard. That's our next big purchase. So
Yeah, I
we
think.
appreciate all our sponsors. Give us more money.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, get sponsored by Shure. Come on.
Yeah, of course. Why wouldn't we?
Where's
Yeah,
that
yeah.
Shure sponsor?
Yeah.
Right? I will.
Yeah.
I will. Is that,
Sure, and Panasonic.
so I'm
you know,
guessing
like-
they're the ones who make those mics.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, so
And speaking of Shure, also sponsor me too, please.
Yeah, right. While we're
Get
giving out
both of us here.
sponsorships.
Yeah.
we will literally suck the logo dick every time.
No,
We will
sponsor my nonprofit, and then I'll give them to you.
We
Then I'll
will-
just give them to you.
we will
You
talk
know what
about
I mean?
you guys at to certain. We will talk right into your microphones every week.
Yeah, yeah. I'll get real close and up and personal with them.
We'll do some weird stuff.
I
with
will
them.
lick those microphones. But yeah, I mean, we should go after them. Why not? Fuck it.
Yeah.
Also-
So Zeptepland, explain the name there. That's
well,
kind of
well, I want to ask one question before we get
all
to
right,
that.
all right.
Did you have a recording studio before you got to? Because you've been doing this for a while.
Yeah. No,
So
not
like
a
from
form.
young to were you already like had a building that you were trying to do on, and then kind of built up to where you got to build your own place? Is that kind of how it went, or?
Kind of. So what I did, I lived out in New York for about 5 years, and I came up playing there, came up in the scene there, and started recording.
Are
out
you
there.
originally from
I'm
here?
originally from here.
And just I'm going to New York.
I was living in Honolulu and decided to move out
Hell
to
yeah,
New York.
holy
So kind of jumped coast to coast. Well, not even coast to coast.
And that's where you
way
got
far
that
further
shirt.
than coast to coast.
That's
but-
where you got that shirt.
Yeah,
right?
exactly. I hate these shirts out there. They hate them. But I came up doing it there. I was recording an album with a band of mine, and we were all kind of taking part in it in this little tiny practice space. It was like, oh my god, it was 5 by 10 or something. Just tiny closet. It cost like $800, $900 a month.
Yeah.
And I fell in love with it. I was the one that was charged with mixing it, and I just felt like I fell in love with it harder than I ever did.
More than playing?
More
even?
than playing, more than I did when I was a kid. And I was just like,
Are you still playing at this time with this? You're with this band that you're mixing the thing. You're falling more in love with the mixing part of it.
we're not together like as a band like that, but they still come in town sometimes to cut some other records with
Oh,
me.
cool.
So we're still working together. But I just just blew my mind. And it was like my first time using GarageBand because I was, we were recording on tape and stuff up to that point for the most part. And it was my first time really using GarageBand. And I was like, this is incredible. So I was like, I'm just going to move back to Wichita so I can buy gear. I can afford gear.
Yeah.
I just wanted to afford it.
Well, and you can
Low
afford a
cost
place
of
to put
living.
the gear
Yeah.
too. Like, I mean, at that
Exactly.
time, I mean, you for the $800+ you're paying a month, you're coming into a mansion.
That's
Right,
right. Yeah, man.
exactly.
Yeah. Wichita is a low cost of living. I know
especially
people
at that
that
time. Especially at that time.
I know
Yeah.
people doing all kinds of work in the industry, and they live here because they can fly to New York or LA same dime,
Yeah.
and they can come here and live cheap.
Right. I've been working
You
out in
know?
Nashville. Super easy to pop over
Yeah.
there.
Well,
It's
Wichita's
all-
Kansas is trying to be a dick and raise his property value. You need to calm down, Wichita, a little bit. Jesus Christ.
It's true. It's true. My property taxes are a little.
Yeah,
insane
they're
this year.
fucking. You're like, bro. Yeah,
sometimes.
the appraisal's nice, but then you look at the property tax, you're like, oh,
Right.
well, fuck, I forgot
Shit.
about that part.
Yeah, let me go ahead and sell this.
Yeah, exactly. So you kind of had you got an introduction into this in New York. So you were there for 5 years?
I was there for 5 years. Yeah, came up playing in the scene that at the time a lot of really cool bands were coming up. I think Real Estate was coming up, and Woods and Waves was coming up and coming through a bunch. So it was kind of that era. It was kind of just post like the financial crisis of 2008.
Yeah,
And it was just kind of this, I don't know, a lot of energy.
it was a
out
weird
there.
time.
It was a weird time.
Well, it was. I mean, at that time, which I hope it happens again. Fucking real estate was cheaper and shit. People were pretty happy at that time. Their money was doing a lot.
Yeah,
So
it was interesting.
People were jiving and shaking long before COVID come around.
In New York, I wasn't thinking about real estate. That was so far from my mind. Just the band Real Estate. But yeah, coming out here was night and day for just cost of living and being able to afford gear. I bought monitors for the first time. I bought mics for the first time. I bought all sorts of gear. I just went nuts, and then had a home studio out of my living room, then took over a dining room, then got into the kitchen.
Now the
So-
pool
And
house.
then
So
it
when
was
you-
time to
so
buy a
when you-
place and get.
So when you come back and you're building all this gear and you're working on trying to put a studio together, did you have people in town that you mixed on, or were ready to work with you, or did you have to go out and try to find new people to work with? Like, what'd you do when you come back?
It was both. It was probably 5 or 6 years before I started working with people from here, before I got myself out there. But my buddies from New York were still flying in to work with me.
So you had outside.
I had outside,
people. Oh,
yeah,
that's awesome.
all sorts of people from New York coming in, and my brother had a band out of Lawrence, Baby Birds Don't Drink Milk, which were fantastic. They were coming to work.
Baby birds don't.
So,
drink milk.
so this is kind of how I see studios a lot.
we
Like,
can't just gloss over that.
like, but no, like being a musician, a lot of the studios we go to, they are in this like nondescript, like maybe it's some neighborhood, maybe it's some like industrial complex, but it never says like recording studio.
Right.
Here, guys, everybody. this
Well,
is it.
especially with
It's like
seems
they're always in the weirdest places.
It's true. It's
And,
true.
like, and you got a lot of your money. It seems like from out of town. Guess when you were out of town business.
Yeah, at the
So,
start,
like,
start
so-
for sure.
Yeah. So I mean, you weren't like really having maybe not even slowly working your way into, I'm sure, the Wichita scene, but like I mean, you were already working with people from all over the country. So that's kind of a nice built-in thing when you come here.
Definitely. And I had no intention of building a recording studio at the beginning. That didn't
Really?
even cross my mind for a few years. That was like
So when did the cross happen?
when I started to get more work out of the house, and I was like, I need a space to go.
Yeah.
I can't. I need a living space and a workspace. These need to be separate. You know?
I think
Yeah.
it's something like this too. Like I think
That's most business.
and it gets to
Right,
like
yeah,
it
exactly.
gets to just like
Exactly.
it gets to just like the podcast does a little bit too, like because you work with people, so you like eventually you don't want every fucking guy that you work with or girl to come to your house and
Right.
know where your house is
Right.
and know
Yeah.
where I sleep at.
Yeah.
Like not every band's great. People to
Musicians
know.
are musicians after it all.
And, I mean, you know what I'm saying? Like eventually I think what basically what you're saying is you have to have that separation a little bit.
Yeah.
So,
you do.
it's-
Yeah.
so
and for
it's-
me, it's very little. It's like 50 feet of separation,
Yeah.
from building to
Yeah.
building. But
But you have a family.
That's a fucking enough,
Right.
man.
It's-
Even because if your business and your thing is on the same property, if you can like separate the buildings where I work in here, I do my family shit here. Like it
well,
makes,
and that's what I'm saying. You have a family that occupies your house,
Right.
While you're
yeah.
over here in the pool house doing some stuff.
Yeah, exactly.
You know,
that's
Exactly.
fucking
And,
badass.
Yeah.
and we got it was cool too, because we found the right property. We got it rezoned too. So it's, it's a legit above the board.
Oh, beautiful.
So that's
Studio
so we're
and-
getting so much work. I'm going. I got to build a place now.
Yeah, that was it. And that was the genesis of it. So from
So
there,
that's where Zeptepland becomes a reality.
Yeah, that's where it becomes. Somehow it became a reality. I don't know. I still don't know, man. I walk into that place every day, and I'm like, how the fuck did I do this?
It's beautiful.
Thank you,
It's
man.
really cool
Thank you.
Hard
place.
work. That's how you did it. Let's be honest.
It's
Hard
got a
work.
cool vibe. It's got a good.
Yeah, I can't wait to
vibe.
check it out. I'm gonna have to come by and check
Absolutely,
it out. sometime.
absolutely.
I
Yeah,
would love to
come when the
by.
pool's open though.
Yeah. Hey, you have to.
Even better.
I'll extend that invite right back at you. I got a pool in my house too that we every Saturday get down on some wild ass pool volleyball. You could definitely.
That
come
sounds fun.
You can
I'm definitely in.
It's
for
an
that.
athletic
I'm
pool.
100% in for that.
It's an athletic pool. We'll talk after this, but it's an athletic pool built.
The
for
pool
volleyball.
was designed
for pool
volleyball.
volleyball. So,
wow.
So
what?
really, the deepest it is only 4 feet. So like it doesn't. There's no like real deep end.
And it's in your on your property.
Yeah, and it's in ground. Yeah, it's in ground.
Wow.
At 13th and Ridge area.
So did they install it for that reason, or was it?
We had it built for that reason.
Oh, you had it built. You had it built.
Yes.
Wow.
We had it built.
Oh,
for
that's
that reason
awesome.
specifically. Yeah.
That's amazing.
Pool volleyball is fucking really fun, especially if you're like a fat dude. Like it's so much easier to run around in sand. You ever try to run around in sand?
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Oh my god. Yeah.
Or inside? Jesus, it's hot. But-
Or at all. Like,
well, I like to do some athletic things, but I want it to be cushioned with nice, cool water and nice, cool beverages.
Well, I've always wanted pool volleyball in mind, but that slope.
You
know,
can't
when
do
go
it.
deep
You can't
in
do
You
it.
literally
it's
can't
not-
do it. You literally
it's not
can't. You have to be.
B team always lose.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Well, and I will
Even
say
put the
to
most athletic people.
well, and
out
I will
there.
say to anybody building a pool, and this is just a little bit of advice. If you build a pool with a deep end in a residential neighborhood, half your pool you ain't gonna use because no one can stand in it. Like you can't do anything. If you have a diving board or even a jump, like a few people jump in and then everybody stands in the shallow end.
Yeah.
And then
Yep.
has drinks.
Yep.
Like we built our pool so I could use all of it. Like so there's not
Smart.
there's
You're a
not
thinker.
there's not 20,000 gallons of water that I'm treating every week for no fucking reason.
Right.
But I mean I love
The
to jump
majority of the water.
but I love to jump
deep.
but I love to jump off a diving board just like anybody else. But like the diving boards they build for residential pools are pretty sketchy. My fat ass don't need to be jumping on them anyway. They finna come out the concrete anyway. So
You got to try mine. It's from 1970.
You have a
Hasn't been
springboard?
changed. I
Is it
do. It's
springboard?
a springboard.
I said, now springboard we can jump on.
Yeah.
Like if you go to a rec pool that's an L-shaped pool with a 12-foot deep end, they have a high dive and a low dive, and they're both springboards. Springboard anybody can get on. You can break them with 2 elephants.
It's incredible.
But the board, a fixed board. If you go up and try to jump off of that as a person over 250 pounds, you're breaking the fuck out of it.
Oh my god.
The whole thing. But yeah, so that's cool that you found a property. Like I got a property with a pool. Let's build a recording studio here.
That was actually one of the requirements.
really
Was the pool?
Was the pool? Yeah.
did it coincide with what you wanted to do in the recording studio or
I wanted to build something just different. So when I moved back here from New York, I was kind of disappointed that there wasn't the kind of studio I was looking for, which was a live room. And this is 20.
explain? You said this a couple times. Explain to everybody what a live room means.
So a live room is like one big room where everybody can record, a whole band can be in there, and it's one large, well-treated space rather than being broken up into different booths.
So you can record it like a live show.
Like a live show,
Okay.
exactly.
So
exactly.
hence live room.
There's old school in that. Like
yeah, it's
not a lot of
very
people do that now.
it's
you know.
original recording studio.
I feel like you have to be a good
1970s.
man too. You have to have your shit in order to do that as a band.
Well, yeah, you do.
You do,
Because
absolutely.
I think that separates the men from the women there a little bit. Oh, that's rude. That separates the. How can we say that? How can we say that? Men from the boys.
Yeah,
There
yeah,
it is.
keep it in one gender, man. That's fair.
That's much
The
better.
men from the people who suck.
Well, I would say, let's say from the people that are prepared and who are not.
Sure, yeah, exactly.
Which I'm
Exactly.
sure
There's a lot of
That's real.
preparation. that goes-
That's
yeah.
real. That's real.
And that's really how I meant it.
And there's people who do it and don't expect they can do it, you know. But
'Cause
they
I
find
mean-
they can do it.
I like to find that moment in the studio.
Yeah, exactly.
You know, I like to find that moment to where, hey, I am pushing you a little bit.
Right.
You might be a little bit mad at me, but we're gonna get through this, and I bet you're gonna love your tracks.
Sure.
You know what I mean?
Sure.
Is it more
Like-
a little bit of honesty? Honesty goes a long way. Fuck
Yeah.
I feel like if somebody's spending their money on some shit, even I mean, I don't, you guys listening to shit's
You-
way different than me, but like I would tell them the truth and be like, hey man, you fucking need to fix this.
Do you know Jim Gaines? Do you know the name Jim Gaines?
Yeah, that name sounds familiar.
Okay, so Jim Gaines, he was the executive producer on like Stevie Ray Vaughan's last record.
Okay.
Coco Montoya. He did Journey, Santana.
Okay. Yeah. Sure.
Like Jim Gaines, he was a huge influence way back. Cut his teeth at Stax, so he's a friend of mine. Okay, and we've had conversations to where he's like, yeah. So while I was recording Stevie Ray Vaughan, like he did a badass solo, and I was just like, I wonder what this guy's gonna do if I push him. You know what I mean?
Right.
So as a producer, he goes, yeah, I think we're almost there.
Gives him a little bit of salt.
Yeah,
a little bit of salt.
Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly.
I
Instead
think
of sugar.
we're almost there. Man.
Gives him a little salt instead of sugar.
Yeah,
there.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. I think we're almost there. Let's do a couple more and let's see what happens.
Yeah, if you know who you're working
Yeah.
with and what
Yeah.
buttons to push, yeah, you can get some
And
really.
so-
And how often does that come out when you're working? Quite a bit on stuff like that.
Yeah, so one rule that I was taught that I always found super helpful is 2 positives for every negative.
There you go.
Yeah,
There you
dude.
go.
That
Well,
gets
little-
a really
keep,
great.
Keep pushing.
Yeah,
Dude,
pushing.
that you it's,
like,
it's,
this was really
positively
good.
it's
and,
sugar,
like,
sugar, salt, baby.
Yeah,
That's how it
exactly.
is.
Exactly.
Compliment sandwich. Yeah.
Compliment sandwich.
Right.
Same,
Compliment
same.
sandwich.
Yeah, exactly.
Same. I think that's just good people management because there's people want to hear is how good they did as well as how bad they did.
Right.
And I'm the same way. Like
Yeah,
I
of course.
I want you to tell me this is a good recording too, right? Don't
Right.
you want to hear that from your clients? So
Absolutely.
so,
Yeah.
I mean, and I want to hear when I fucked up too.
Recording is 90% customer service.
Oh, it is.
Honestly.
Yeah, I believe
Yeah, it
so.
is.
I believe
It's
so.
if somebody has a good time and you come out with an okay recording, they still had a good time.
They'll still
That's what I was
come
about to
back.
say. How many times do you hand them and you're like, this is what you wanted. Could have been better,
Uh,
but this is what you wanted.
more than I want to say on air.
Because I've actually heard Aaron and John, shout out to John Bogues and a couple other sound people in town, like begrudgingly kind of give you what you want when you know that maybe your expertise would.
Yeah, if you're getting paid for it, you do it. I mean, they're the final word. The artist or the producer.
They
is
want
the
what they
final word.
want, and you are hired to give that to them.
Yep. Exactly,
Yeah, I think so, too.
exactly.
That's what's happening.
So when you come across something like that, do you go, hey, here's what you wanted. Here's also kind of what I was thinking. Is that something you do or do you just, hey, it's not worth my time to do that? Or
Sometimes I start with, hey, this is what I was thinking. Tell me what you think of this.
okay,
And then kind of start to maneuver from there. So we start with my vision and then kind of meet in the
Move
middle.
from
Hopefully
it.
that's
Yeah,
like
move
best
from it.
case scenario.
well, I feel like you are hiring a vision a bit. When
Yeah,
you
yeah,
hire a recording
absolutely.
studio, there is like you are the artist, but you are also hiring other artists to
Right.
help you with what you're putting together.
Right.
So how much of that do you have to deal with the artist? You're like, hey man, let loose of this a little bit.
I'm not too many. I'm pretty old school as an engineer where most sessions, if I'm not hired as a producer, I'm backing off unless they ask me directly.
Yeah.
Once we get to mixing or like post-production, then I'll kind of get in the weeds a little more. But
So-
once they start to ask me, if they're like, hey man, give us your opinion on all of this or anything or nothing, that's when I get the opening,
So is that
invite a
your-
vampire in.
You kind of wait
It's-
for them to kind of let the door open a little
Exactly.
bit. That
Exactly.
makes sense.
Is that what you want to do though? You want to engineer the record, you want to mix the record, and then master the record. You want to have all hands on.
Not necessarily.
God, you guys all think the same way. That's why-
Well,
I knew he was gonna say-
like
Great question. Great question. by the way.
For me, I'm going to say that I go into a project expecting engineering one person,
Right.
mixing another, mastering another that hopefully knows who mixed it.
Right. So my
Like
thing
that-
is like I prefer if somebody I don't mind recording and mixing it. Sometimes I prefer it because I can have more control over the final product
Yeah,
and how
for
it
sure,
sounds, and I
for
can be
sure.
more proud of presenting
You
it.
know how you engineer.
But
Well, it's just kind of-
mastering,
it's kind
I
of a
think, is
start
really
to finish.
important to get someone else to do.
Yeah,
Okay, so-
new ears, fresh
okay,
ears.
Okay, so
Exactly,
can we for all the dum dums and me? What is the difference
For all of them and
and me? Because not everybody's mixed and mastered a record. Okay, what is the difference between recording it and then you have them mixing it, and then what is the difference between that and mastering it? I mean, both of you can give me your takes on it. Like, I would make sure we understand that concept.
I'm curious to hear your take, Aaron.
Okay. So when I say engineering a record, I am talking about how I set up drum sound. And drum sound is the first thing I'm actually going to look at, okay? Because drum sound is everything. What room am I putting that in? How do I tune these drums? How do I mic these drums? That is engineering, okay? And you can take that just down the pipeline, from drums to bass to keyboards to guitars to vocals, okay? Like just boom, all the way.
So you work
There's
from the
a
rhythm
room,
section back.
There's
backwards?
a room, there's a microphone, there's an angle, there's a this thing that we got to talk about. Like all that is engineering in my head.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Definitely.
And after that, we have now stem tracks, stem files, and
Multi-tracks, yeah.
Yeah, we
And
have,
that's the
we have stem
recordings of what
files.
you laid down. basically. right?
Yeah, the raw
Engineered.
the
This
raw
is what
captured
you played.
audio.
This is what we got.
Engineered, but yes, you
So
know.
the microphones going into preamplifiers, sometimes going into compressors or EQs, depending on how you.
Yeah.
you're
But
lucky.
these
Yeah,
tracks
exactly.
are what I send.
Exactly.
This is
You
what
got
I
some-
send to
yeah.
a mix station, a mixing guy, and he will balance all that out for me.
Is that in? So now we're trying to make everything kind of at the same level and make sure there's no.
Now we're trying to
There's no
EQ it.
popping, there's
we're
no-
trying to shelve it a
You
little
pan
bit.
things in the stereo field.
Yeah.
You have things on the left, things on the right, things in the middle.
Make sure there's no clipping. There's nothing.
Right,
Nothing
equalize
that
it.
buses anything.
Yeah,
We're
equalize it so you've got
cleaning it up a little
the
bit.
frequencies are more tamed. Everything kind of sounds a lot nicer, a lot more put together.
Yeah.
It's putting together. a
Pick
jigsaw
and
puzzle.
snare go center. You know what I mean?
Okay,
like,
so-
these little things
well,
like
then-
this.
so
I do snare a little bit to the left.
Do you
actually.
really?
Yeah, I try to do drum kit to the drummer's perspective.
Yeah, I got you.
Yeah.
So
I
kind of
like
different
that
every time.
approach. Just there's
Oh, there's
the
endless,
rules,
Yeah, and that's the thing. There's endless ways. That's what I love about it.
Well, so that to me seems like we're getting a pretty good sound after we're done
Yeah.
mixing it.
After
what
you're
is
done
the-
mixing it,
So
now the
what is the
mastering. guy.
step? What is the step from the mixing to mastering?
So mastering, we have to make sure that we are at current industry standards for radio, for these kind of
What do you
things.
mean-
We
what do you
have
mean
we
by
have to basically take all these tracks. Okay, we can have 128 tracks. Okay, and we now put them into 2 tracks, left and right.
Okay.
You feel me? And so now we are EQing this, and we are compressing this to industry standards.
So mastering
Over
engineers typically, like professional mastering engineers, have a very specific set of equipment they work with that's
Yes.
different from what
And
recording and mixing
super
engineers would.
expensive.
Super expensive,
Yeah.
a lot of times custom made, and different rooms. So there's different kinds of absorption and diffusion on the walls, different acoustics in the room. So what they're doing is, when you're deep in a project, especially mixing it, and you're on it for weeks or months at a time, you get so deep in the weeds that you can't see the forest from the trees.
You burn
You're
your
too
ears
close.
out.
You're
Yeah,
too close.
burn
Yeah,
your
and
ears
so a
And you're
master
too
engineer-
invested. That's kind of why he's always said he likes to have somebody else master.
Exactly. So they can hear frequencies that are,
Some shit
clogging up
you
the
might have
recording.
missed.
It's
Right.
not making it clear enough or sharp enough, or something like that. And they go and tweak all that. They get the overall final volume of a track up to like commercial standards. So how like it will sit next to another track perfectly on the radio or on Spotify or whatever.
So it's the final polishing.
it's
process.
the final polishing.
So we can
process.
present it to the public. now.
Exactly.
So when
It
if
is
I,
now shiny.
So if it
Yeah.
plays on Spotify, Apple, or it plays on T95, it sounds like the song that played before it.
Yeah.
And doesn't
just,
have
just
it
level wise.
like level wise.
It's got
As
some
far
sort.
as,
There's some sort of continuity.
like so it's in the
Yeah.
right bit rate or whatever.
The
fuck
mix
it's
is
supposed
still
to be.
there. The mix is still
Hopefully
there.
it's in the right bit rate.
Yeah.
The mix is still there. We just put it all inside the suitcase and made it a carry on.
Okay.
You're just polishing the mix up a bit
Okay.
and making it louder.
And I can see why that would present a nice spot for somebody with an objective perspective on that.
Yeah.
Someone that's outside of the studio that
You have
has
to
to
have
sit
it.
there and dealt with that project or knows that band for the last 6 months and been
Right.
dealing with that.
If we're
makes
mixing
sense.
it, we've listened to it 500 times,
Yeah.
possibly 1,000
Easily,
times,
easy.
easily, and taking it out into the world in the
So
car.
remember
on the
that.
walk, you know?
Remember that when you're paying these guys, they put a lot of fucking time into your music,
It's a
guys.
lot. It's a lot.
Well, the problem really now, and feel free to pipe up here, but like the problem now for any modern studio is that everybody has a laptop and an interface in their fucking bedroom, and they think they're a studio because they bought a couple $100 worth of VSTs, and they're gonna
So like our
they're
podcast.
now just oh yeah, I'm as good as fucking Abbey Road over here, man. I got it done.
It works
you know?
for some genres, though. It does work for like hip hop. I think that's a really pretty viable.
Now that's
to-
it. Some genres.
Yeah.
Studios, I've always thought were kind of genre specific.
I don't know, man. I still think you lose some depth with those cheap ass like
I can
Hip-hop
hear
is-
it. I can hear it.
hip hop's more depth than people give it credit
And
for.
the-
And when you
and the
record
weird-
it with those weak ass studios, it sounds like shit.
It depends who's doing it and kind of the aesthetic they're going for. So like when I look at an artist in town like Maurice Anthony, right?
Yeah.
That guy did
Love
a
it.
lot of stuff at home and it sounds awesome.
Yeah.
Because
Well,
You
he's
can
a
tell he
talent.
cared.
He's a
yeah,
talent.
there's
Yeah.
care involved, and that's
Yeah.
that's the big divider.
Yeah.
Do you care? Are you studying
Yeah.
this day and night? Are you
There's a
sleeping and breathing
talent
this?
there.
You know.
And I always know the artists, the ones that I always lean on are the ones that got a bunch of music in their hat that they won't let go because it ain't quite the right mix yet, or it ain't quite I can't. It's like every once in a while.
I always say it, man.
Here it is.
Yeah, yeah.
I always set him up for this.
I always say this: a mix is never finished; it's surrendered.
I would agree with that. I would agree with
And
that.
it's beautiful.
Yeah.
And it's a beautiful
And sometimes
sentiment.
it's surrender to yourself.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
It is.
Yeah.
And sometimes you need a friend to say, "Hey, man, let it go.
Let it go. It sounds good, bro. It
Hey,
sounds
man,
good.
it's there. I know
Yeah, it sounds good.
It might not ever get to where you want to be, but man, you gotta let that go and let the people have it.
Absolutely.
Because you'll have some bands and some artists that will overproduce their music and to a certain extent that it never reaches the public.
Right.
I have multiple
10
bands
years later,
I got multiple
Chinese
bands
democracy
right now.
come out. You
Right.
know, like, you know.
I have multiple bands right now that are in town that I think are regional to national quality bands that I can't even promote them because I don't have anything I can sell. I don't
Right,
have anything
right.
on anything.
Yeah.
So eventually, like I said, and Aaron says best, you got to surrender that shit. Let it go.
Let it go, man.
Especially if you
Give
really were.
yourself 10 weeks.
Now, if you're a week, if you're a weekend and it sounds like shit, don't let it go.
10 weeks. Let's record this. Let's get it done.
Man, you get 10 weeks. Oh,
You
that
should
must
be able to do a
that
lot.
must be nice.
You can
10
do a lot.
weeks.
Yeah, you can do a lot.
Oh, I wish I had 10 weeks. I usually get a week.
I did a
Right.
record in 10 days.
So we've been always chit-chatting with local and any talent that we can get a hold of. And I would love your perspective on this as someone who records and puts albums and shit together. We have kind of been noticing the market of whether you're releasing an LP or an album, that you kind of do this like, here's a single, and then or either monthly or bi-weekly, and then you kind of release
Current market.
you kind of keep loading yourself at the top of the market every couple of months, and then you release the whole album. What do you think about when you're trying to release albums and stuff through your stuff?
It just depends, what kind of market you're trying to hit. What are you trying to do with it? What's the end goal? For some artists that I work with, it's just, the album is the thing. It's all about the album. The singles don't matter, whatever. Some people it's complete opposite. So it's just so.
But what do you think about, okay, let's say like a band that's fully invested in their album. It might be a good marketing scheme for them to, let's find the two best tracks, pre-release this before the album comes out, and then 2 weeks or a month ago, here's another pre-release. And then, and if you click on those, now we can, a lot of times on a lot of the platforms, if you click the pre-release singles, when the album drops, the whole album automatically downloads.
Right, you can pre-save it.
Yeah, so I think I just want to know your opinion, because I think that's a great marketing scheme. I think it's a good way to get somebody to pre-buy your album.
But you're trying to market to who? And that's the question, is like, there's no right answer for any of it.
When someone says that, I go, anyone. I'm trying to market to anyone.
That's not real, though.
Well, you do have to find your demographic. That's the difference.
I'm saying that everybody over 50 right now, they're not paying attention to TikTok.
Or
so you're releasing like a track every month. That don't hit them. That's not the marketing they get.
Right. Yeah, especially if it's maybe,
you know what I mean? Like,
which is actually kind of ironic, because that's how they grew up. That's what they grew up with.
Yeah, isn't that funny?
Isn't
that funny?
They grew up
45s.
in a singles world.
Well, 45s and shit.
Yeah, but they're not in tune.
Preach, brother.
With the next generation of that.
Well, we're doing the same thing that they did, and they're pissed off about
it. Yeah. Everything comes back around.
It is because
but not every time it comes around do we catch the same people we had.
Well, and not every time, and every time,
different way. TikTok's the same thing, but it's a new format.
Well, and every time something else comes around, it gets a little
that.
better too, though. It gets a little better. Like reels were cool. TikTok took it to another level. It's a little better. Like there's always, like, when somebody else comes into the game, they make the shit show a little different, and change the platform a little bit and change the game just a little bit. That's why.
Yeah, but if your consumer base doesn't update into that, you lost them.
Yeah, 100%.
Yeah,
well, you always got to know your consumer base, but at the end of the day, if we're I don't know who, and I'd love to get into it. And we'll get into it right after this. No matter who you're aiming for, like you just anybody. That's what it's always been my thing. People are like, anybody.
No,
but
he's the engineer. He's on the other side of that. You actually have no vested interest in any of their music.
I bet
going forward. I mean,
I do to an extent, in that the more they're heard, the more my work is heard.
Well, of course.
Well, and I'm sure you got I'm sure just as like you're anything, you've listened to and work on something for so long, you kind of grow some vested interest in it.
Oh,
and kind of love it.
It becomes part of you.
And then if something you're obviously a music fan, or you wouldn't have done all this,
right?
So some of it, it's got to reach on a certain level, and I'm sure you get a chance to work with who you want to work with.
But there's a certain point to where the engineer has let that go. We've surrendered
Right,
it.
yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah,
There it is.
Fair enough.
You guys, as a band, you do what you do. I
Well, and it's
wish you
so-
well. I hope it's good.
It's so confusing right now because the entire industry is changing so
Oh,
rapidly.
So
I mean,
fast.
just what a 4 or 5 months ago, Spotify announced that you got to have at least 1,000 streams or more to make
That's
any
right.
money,
That's
right?
real.
So
That's real.
that's new.
Yeah,
in and of
TikTok went
itself.
to a certain
That's
number of people before you go live, and then like everybody
Exactly.
put these restrictions on
It's
shit.
not sustainable. I don't
Yeah.
know where it's going, but it's not sustainable.
Well,
where it's
the
at.
thing is you have all the big music industry people saying the right thing. They are selling thousands of streams and getting $0.
Nobody's actually vested in
Like
making it
if you're
sustainable.
if you're
Right.
if you're Taylor
that's,
Swift,
that's the problem.
if
Exactly.
you're let's say you're Taylor Swift or insert artist here who gets millions of streams a day or a month or whatever it is, and you're getting checks for 25 grand a month on that shit, get fucked. Like they're trying to find a model where it's somewhat adequate and substantially based close to what like album sales were, and they can't figure it out. Like they have been 10 years in this mess. Well, the thing is you sell more fucking streams than you would have album sales because streams are easier to get.
discounted, man.
Right.
Streams do not count for shit.
Well, they don't. No,
It
to the
takes
artist.
1,500 YouTube streams.
That's
to
what I'm
make an
saying.
album sale.
Well, that's what I'm
somebody
saying.
like Taylor Swift is getting
Well, that's
a
what I'm
ton of money
saying.
off it,
A ton of money, yeah,
but she's not. But also in retrospect, she's
The
not.
gap is huge, man.
Because if those were album sales and she was getting
Oh,
residuals
yeah,
off that,
it'd be
she might run the country. So like literally like she's
President Swift.
not like her, like even somebody
oh
that's
God, don't say
Yeah.
it.
Oh
Even-
my god.
even someone that's a
She
huge,
could do it. She
even
could
someone
run.
that's a huge artist
I
is
believe
getting
you.
fucked
Good.
on their streams. Even someone that's a huge artist is getting fucked on their streams. Like this ain't even close to the money that it would
Right.
get if someone was having to buy, albums for that.
Yeah,
Like it's not even close.
it's
to the
not close.
residuals.
Somebody like her would still make probably millions, but it's not anywhere near
It's so-
what it would have been in the past. But
that's why it takes
that's-
her at that point to request what she should get, so the people that only have 100,000 streams actually make decent money on that shit.
right,
Like you have to make. They're trying to find a way to bring the streams and album sales money together because the artists are right. They're getting fucked big time. Because I mean, it's far past the Napster days. Because not only is
They're gonna stop doing it.
they're gonna have to.
They're just gonna quit.
Yeah, because the streaming rights.
All we're gonna have is
'cause
like
now
old
it's
school bands like Aerosmith,
Well, now it's-
Foreigner.
now
they're
it's
gonna tour around
Napster.
forever.
Now it's Napster where where Napster gets paid, but still the industry like the artists don't.
right.
Like the industry bitched and got Napster kicked out. Now they just own all those streaming rights to all that shit, and they're getting their money. But now still the artists aren't.
You already got.
What is this?
It's mostly hope.
Jesus.
I know.
Come on.
So where the nice transition is so now we decided you get enough business, and now I'm building a studio, and now Zeptepland comes along, and so you got a chance to build your studio the way you wanted. Did you have a certain genre in mind, or what was your kind of how you built your place to fit what you wanted to do?
Yeah, it was built to be very versatile. I'm super inspired by a lot of the older studios. I really love what was done in the 60s in LA out of like Western and United and
And I would
Gold
say
Star.
that LA sound is
Well, and that's so the studio designer I used, George Augspurger. He was 91 when he designed this room.
So you went to him and you're like, hey man,
He was 91, so I had to find him in the Los Angeles white pages and cold call him
oh
twice
my god, really?
in order to get.
and he
this-
answered the phone.
Oh, the second time.
Really?
The second time.
Did you like shit your pants a little? You didn't expect him to answer, did you?
No, I had this crazy amount of confidence. I was like, oh, of course he did. Yeah, it's me calling. Of course he answered. No, it was one of those things where it was like he has to answer. He has to answer. So,
You felt it.
It was all based on those great LA rooms. So like, my favorite band is the Beach Boys, and Pet Sounds is one of my, it's a seminal record. It's an incredible record.
Yeah.
But that record, when you listen to it, it's this wall of sound, almost Phil Spector-ish kind of sound that Brian Wilson got. When you look at the size of the room that was recorded in, there's probably 15 plus musicians per song, every instrument in one room.
Jesus.
And those rooms are tiny in those studios. And so
So you were inspired by that live room.
exactly,
of
where everybody is in there
view.
and playing. So
That's
that can
that's
extend to
cu-
any genre.
That's a cool view, man. That's
Yeah.
a cool like something. I got something different.
Right. And that's what we tried to be, is something a little different than you normally
And-
see.
And that's what I like about Zeptepland Studios is that LA open sound. You're talking about Pet Sounds, Beach Boys. Those are very like big room sounding
Right.
Now, maybe not in actuality, but like
So
big
what are the-
room
but it
sounds,
sounding.
yeah,
So then we need a high
Uh,
ceiling in this
thanks,
place
yeah.
too, a little bit, right?
You would need one, but I don't have one.
Well, really?
Well,
So we had to
No,
design it.
No, I got 8-foot ceilings.
What I'm saying
it
is,
right
you don't
now.
have to have it. You don't
Um,
have
You
to
just can you
We- so
design
we-
the room
you
to
need
a
to
We
design
designed
right.
around it. We
Really?
designed around it because we knew we explored taking the ceiling up, but that was probably
design
20
it
to 30 grand
correctly,
out of my
and it might not
budget.
be-
So
dude, I tell you, man, moving a floor.
oh my
Shit,
god, I mean
mean,
all of it was so super expensive. So
yeah, I mean, I love to see that you went like, fuck this. Find me a land with a fucking pool. I'm building a recording studio.
it was the only way.
I
It
mean,
was the only
dude,
way.
dude, to me, it's a goddamn American fucking dream story.
It
To
is.
me,
It is.
I went to Honolulu. I went to New York for a little bit. Came back to Kansas. Give me a pool fucking property, and I'll build a studio.
Yeah,
there.
and I'll be happy.
Thank you, Mel.
So you get him to come in. So obviously he's 91.
Yeah.
Now when you're having somebody come in from out of state, and how do you match the builders to work with this guy who they probably never built the shit that he's trying to build?
So him and I worked totally remotely. It was there. He didn't come.
He didn't have
town.
to actually come here.
No, it was
Oh,
all
wow.
pictures, measurements, like all that stuff.
schematics and
Oh, wow.
here's-
Yeah.
and blueprints and shit.
Yeah, and it was all hand drawn too. Which
So you're
is
just
really cool.
relaying things. to
That's some beauty shit.
contractors.
And it
Yeah.
kind of sucks when you work with somebody like that and you see like hand drawn blueprints and you're like, fuck, this guy goes, like a bunch of shit goes with him. It's
Right.
a little bit of a bummer. You're like, because like that shit doesn't exist these days. You called a new person to do that, they just sent you some computer drawn out shit.
Right,
Like that old hand drawn shit.
right.
just-
It's like having a Picasso in the audio engineering world. It's like
and you have that.
I got this personal one just for me.
Yeah,
Or I
that's-
got like 10 of them, 12 of them.
It was
whatever
definitely worth it. Definitely worth it.
So I ended up getting a local contractor that my family and I have known for most of my life, and he was about to retire from it, but he was like, "Oh, a recording studio. That sounds kind of interesting."
So he piqued his interest,
And I really trusted him. He knows everybody, knows where to get the right materials. He
that
I knew he would
helps,
do it right.
and he knew he wouldn't fuck you over. I mean, that's
Yeah,
someone who's not going
right.
to charge me double for. Dude, come on.
Exactly.
Well, it's a great design. I mean, seeing your
Thank you.
studio is a great design.
I appreciate that. Yeah.
Sounds
So
good.
him and I, really, there weren't a lot of other people involved.
So how long did it take to put the whole place together?
6 months.
6 months.
6 months from the
So-
time we started
and that-
demolition.
And so 6 months. When is the conclusion? What year did we get done?
It was
building?
April of 2018.
So 2018, April. We got a brand new studio.
Brand new studio.
Who's the first person we get in there and get a recording to?
Oh man, I don't know that I'd have to get in the archives for
Really?
that one.
Really? You don't remember who come in? You don't
I
remember?
think it
I
might
don't
have
remember the like champagne bottle.
Was Davey Treechek a part of it?
Davey was definitely on the radar. at the
Yeah,
time.
yeah.
He was
Who
coming.
the fuck is Dave?
Davey's a savant. He's
Okay.
Davey's amazing, and he likes to hang out at Zeptepland.
he
Sounds like a
we're-
podcasting
We're working
type
on singles and
guy.
albums and live stuff. We got all
Yeah.
sorts of stuff going on. He's a absolute savant.
Is he bands solo musician? Who
Yeah,
is
he plays in David Truchek and the
Does he live
Magic
under a
Sky.
fucking tree somewhere? Who is this guy?
Yeah,
He does
Yeah.
love trees.
He's a no. His best friend's a fox.
No, he's a great guy, really talented musician. But he wasn't the first one. I think maybe the first outside band where it wasn't just me and my friends testing it would have been Team Tremolo at the time. Remember
Oh
that?
yeah, I bet with Jenny Wood.
Yeah, we did some demos. I think for would have been
Jenny
their
Wood,
second
Kirk
record.
Russell, I believe.
It was Will Erickson on drums.
Kirk Russell's.
I'm trying to
hell
think.
of a- hell
I'm
of
trying
a-
to think of that band. Man.
It was
that was a great band.
Caleb Drummond was on bass.
Yeah, of course. he was.
Zach Roach was on guitar.
Yeah.
That might have been the first one. That might have
All
been the
right,
first one.
Nice.
Excellent.
That's
That was
coming back to me.
nerve-wracking.
It's
It was
coming back
live.
to
That
me.
was the first live tracking.
And
Okay.
so you're like, I mean, obviously you built something that's sounds pretty amazing. I haven't seen it, put eyes on
It's a
it.
cool studio. We'll go check it.
Yeah,
out.
Yeah, you gotta come. You gotta
Soon,
come by.
soon. Whenever you're willing to let us come, fuck up your place for a minute.
You
We'd
just
love
let me
it.
know. I'll get the margarita machine out. We'll put it on.
Oh,
we got a
that'd be
Margaritaville. We'll put it on the tiki
Yeah,
bar.
let's do it. Let's do it a
Yeah.
weekend. We'll do it a weekend. We'll come out.
There, that's
We'll
perfect.
We'll
Yeah,
come out.
let's do it.
Yeah, for fun.
Bring our swim trunks.
Yeah, I can swim a little bit. I mean, I built a pool where I didn't have to.
There's
swim.
not two shallow ends. There's a deep end.
Yeah, so I don't know. I put my floaties on. And I won't push Aaron out in the water. He will never get in the water with his dreads. He's like, "Are you in the water? You got dreads."
I don't like to get my dreads wet.
You
man.
can make
They
the
take
you can make the
forever to dry,
margaritas.
you know? Yeah, I'll make margaritas.
Yeah, there you
Just get in the fucking water.
I think that's what we did at that music video we shot there. Was I just made the
Oh, you're doing mimosas that
drink.
day, right?
Yeah, mimosas. Huh?
So, I mean, you got a big enough space that's you're willing to offer. Kind of tell the people what you have to offer at this place. It sounds like you have a big enough space to do music videos and all kinds of shit.
Yeah, so we can. It's really cool. It's really versatile. We can do a lot with it. We can do the live tracking. We can do individual tracks one at a time. We can do all sorts of recording. But yeah, you can do photos out by the pool. You can do photos, music videos in the studio. It's got a lot of.
Do you guys have a studio videographer? Do you work with whoever they want to bring in?
Pretty much whoever they want to bring in. If they need some recommendations,
I'm sure. Yeah, exactly.
And same with studio musicians too. I can always bring people in if they need them.
Nice.
So work with a lot of.
I play a hell of a slide whistle.
Ooh,
I take
pretty good at this. I'm pretty good at this.
Oh yeah.
Those
Okay.
are not
Anybody
things.
didgeridoo? Anybody?
Oh,
No.
actually, I have one.
I do. I got one too.
I feel like you should lead.
can't
I
do
feel
it
like
at
you
all.
should lead with the didgeridoo.
Yeah, mine is in D. Just so you know.
I'm gonna call one of you two for the didgeridoo.
Yeah, I mean,
Mine's
I
in
feel like you're just blowing the end
As
of
long
it.
as it's in the right.
Oh God, it's hard.
Yeah, it is. But you have to blow it
Transpose.
like the right way. Aaron will figure it out. Aaron will blow that thing the right way.
I got the circular breathing thing.
Oh man, how do
Yeah,
you
I
do
do.
that?
Well, he's a fucking
What's the
savant.
trick? Is the
Yeah.
trick.
All right, we got savants all over.
Yeah, I gotta steal your words. I had to steal your words.
Hey, so we are wrapping up. What was that? Holy shit! We are wrapping up.
Jesus,
Tell
she's trying
everybody
to
where
kill
to
us.
find you. How do we support Zeptepland? Everything you do.
Yeah, so I'm really active on Instagram, just at Zeptepland, Zeptepland. You can go to zeptepland.com, contact me there. You can call, text, email if you want to work with me.
Are you taking new clients in all the time right now?
Taking new clients? If you're an engineer or a producer and you got a project and you don't want me to engineer it, that's totally fine too. We rent out the studio, music videos, photo shoots.
So you rent the space as well.
Rent the space as well.
That's my man.
Yeah,
I love that.
Oh yeah, we do
I love
everything. We actually do cassette digitization. So if you got any old cassettes or anybody you know has old cassettes, we take care of those for you. So yeah.
Can you turn my DVDs into cassettes?
Ooh.
Ooh.
You know what? I bet we can. I bet we can.
I don't know why you. I don't know why
I'm
you
just
would.
gonna say yes, we can, and we'll figure it out.
Yeah, it's gonna be.
I don't know
interesting.
why the fuck you would, but
I'm
maybe
gonna make tape. loop
maybe
sound.
I want
That's
to.
what-
Maybe I want to see in game on cassette.
There we go. There we go.
Can you turn my books into cuneiform?
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's turn them into braille for me
Yeah.
so I can learn.
Jeez.
Sorry. So I mean, you would be at least learning the language at braille. So I mean, but all jokes aside, we're taking music acts. Do you have it? Do you have a certain genre of like that you like to work with? That kind of is there something that fits you? I know you're willing to work with anybody and a fucking dollar moves the needle, but like, is there something that like hits like hey man, if this is your band, Zeptepland's for me.
Yeah,
So
definitely. I built the room to be a great jazz room.
Nice.
It's a really interesting room for jazz, and it's based on one of the great jazz rooms by the great engineer Rudy Van Gelder out of New Jersey back in the day. Did all the Blue Note stuff. So jazz is a big one. I do. We do a lot of like rock, indie, psychedelic, that sort of stuff. Everything from electronica to that. But I would say for something interesting, if you're a jazz artist, I think you'll love the room.
So and you got a good ear for it. It sounds like
It's a
Sounds like-
passion. It's a passion for sure.
So if you guys, if you're in the jazz community and you're looking for a room / an engineer, I mean, I can tell when you sit and talk to somebody, you can tell somebody's passionate. You're a person that I would want to hire if you're willing to work with anything, because I think you're going to put in the time for me. I think my money's going to antiquate time. Like when I am paying for studio time, like how much is my engineer going to work on my tracks and shit? I can see that you're a passionate guy, and my money's going to translate. So I'm telling you guys, if you're looking for a place in town, I think this is one that can really help us out here.
I appreciate you
yeah,
saying
yeah.
that. That means a lot to me.
That's
It's
just
a
the
good
vibe.
sound.
That's just the vibe I get. I know a passionate person when I see one, and somebody who's not going to bullshit you. Because I mean, those are the two. Well, somebody who's going to work hard and not bullshit you means a lot to me.
Well, for sure. You asked about genre. I don't think it's about genre. I think it's about sound. And you give that open, airy kind of LA sound. That I really dig. Like Doors.
Right.
like that's.
Yeah, that sound. And for me,
I would say if you're going for that sound, this is the guy in town.
I appreciate that. And for me, it's about people, man.
Yeah.
If it's gonna be fun, that's what it's all about. If we're having fun in
Oh,
there,
for sure.
I know the
Let's
recordings
capture that.
are gonna last longer than we will. But if we had fun, that's gonna last too.
And
Well,
that's something that
we're
we can't.
recording
That's something I
everything.
can't buy. That's something I can't buy. Like
Exactly.
like I don't want to have a machine. Like I've never recorded music. Aaron's worked his ass off recording music, and I'm sure
He's a
had.
savant.
I'm sure he's had like machine type recording sessions that were boring, and he's had great recording sessions that he felt amazing about when he left.
And I will tell you, the recordings captured all that. You know what I mean? Whether I enjoyed it or not,
Right.
they probably captured that. You know what I'm saying? And that's real, okay? So if you got a guy like AM over here in a great studio with a great personality, I'm just gonna say,
Well, someone's
let's
willing to
record that.
And
You
when
feel me?
somebody
You
is
feel
willing
me?
to
Let's
work for
record
your
that.
art, when somebody's willing to work hard for your art, dude, that means a lot.
Yeah.
Not only am I investing my time into buying your studio time, but then the fact that you're going to be passionate about my art, I can even tell when you just said casually, you know, hey, you know, I'm listening to somebody's shit 500-600 times. I listen while I'm driving, trying to figure out how to max it. That shows to me that you give a shit.
Right.
And so we have to circle back around to one question. What is did we ever figure out what was the reason behind the name choice?
The genesis of Zeptepland. Okay. So I play music as Zeptepi, which is an Old Kingdom ancient Egyptian word meaning first time or time before the pharaohs. And so then I just added that Disneyland connotation to it. It's a musician's like amusement park. That's what we got. That's what we're running. So Zeptepland.
Zeptepland. I love it. I love it. Thank you.
It's a
And thank you,
mouthful.
Annie, for making us circle back to that, because I would have forgot completely about it. I got you. So get with everything Zeptepland. Like, honestly, we meet with a lot of people. When you find someone passionate and cares about your artwork, guys, that means a ton. So and that's what you're paying for in the end of the day. And somebody who's been around. What helps again with you as a producer, you've not just been landlocked in Wichita. You've been out to Honolulu, you've been out to LA, you've been out to New York.
You have to go check it out.
You have to know
You have
what
to go see all that.
well, you have to see
This is our
Absolutely.
national.
well
like,
the industry standard
Yeah.
of anything is only in Wichita is here. And the industry standing in the big markets is
oh my
higher.
god! Oh my god! Yes.
So different. So learning the industry standard in a market that is much bigger than the one that you normally work in is a huge leg up. Is a huge helpful is helpful to the artists in this area. Is helpful to learn for promotion. It's helpful to learn the distribution. All
No,
those
it's
things.
helpful for you to learn national trends.
Yeah, exactly.
You know, if
Instead
you're
of
stuck
6
in
months later.
Wichita-
Right.
If you're stuck
Exactly.
in Wichita, you get everything about 6 months after the coast.
6 months later,
Right.
baby. And
We're the slow coast here.
yeah, slow. We
You know what I
slow
mean?
as a,
Well, I love what you guys are doing. This is awesome. I think this is super
Well,
fun.
we're trying our
I
hardest, man.
appreciate
We always appreciate the love back from you guys. I hope that you guys feel this way, because we're trying to make sure that Zeptepland's more noticed in this town, that our artists know that's an option, that not you know of a few places, but there's some great places that you don't even know about. So
when it all works together,
yeah.
it's
And
perfect.
and me and Aaron are here every fucking Tuesday for this town. We love you, baby.
I want everybody to know that Wichita, if you look at it and you really dive in, everything is here. You want to record a badass record with a badass engineer right there.
and
you
there's 2 or 3 of them.
There's Cookie Store, man. There's NLR Records. There's
a Humble
Midtropia.
Greatness.
There's everything going on here.
The Humble Greatness.
You just got to plug in, man. You just got to plug in. Humble Greatness doing great stuff.
and you got to
Absolutely.
and
Love
and,
Angela.
and, I
Plug
will
in,
tell you right
guys.
now. I will tell you right now, as an artist, you have to be willing to invest in your art.
If you're gonna sit on your couch and complain,
you're
about
not gonna
all the
you're not gonna
bullshit,
get you're not gonna get
Yeah, go
top
ahead.
quality, or you're not gonna get top quality mixing. You're not gonna get top quality mastering. You're not gonna get top quality shit unless you put a few dollars into your art. And we all have put a lot of money into this, so you got to do the same too. And we hope you do, because I believe in the talent in this town. So
Yeah, I
AM,
agree.
brother. Is
I
that
just
AM.
said it better.
It's good to see
get
you.
with AM, man.
It's
This
awesome to
is
see you, man.
great to meet you for the
Yeah,
first
it's,
time.
it's great to meet you too.
always
Aaron's
good to
always
see
good
you,
to
man.
see you, man.
Yeah,
It's always
definitely,
too
brother.
long too.
Yeah, and we'll have you on again.
Yeah, well, we're so busy, bro.
I know. I know.
Aaron and Austin, Show.